in order to illustrate the flower sprinkling on a dough maker appliance, we take first the example of the classic line. So this is about volumetric division, eventually rounding and resting, and also finishing by a molding steps. This concept concerns the production of big dough pieces as well as small dough pieces. They are not the same machine, but the principle remains the same. So this concept is used for the production lines to make bread, baguette, for instance, but also toast bread, brioche, rusk, and also for pizza made with the press system. So this phase between kneaders and final proofing allows the volumetric division of the dough into equal dough pieces and the molding of them in order to bring their final shape before the fermentation steps. So then we can find flour sprinkling where a strong mechanical pressure can happen on the dough pieces. So this can be, for instance, after the mechanical division, but also after the rounding steps, as you can see here on the photo, before the first proofer, but also on the conveyor belts, like you can see also on the photo on the bottom in the middle. So another example of lines of flour sprinkling can also be found on makeup lines called laminating or sheeting line. This type of lines is quite popular for the production of bread, pizza, croissant, puff pastry, and even for biscuit and cookies. So the objective of this type of line is to make a dough sheet after the kneading step. And this sheet is going to be calibrated in heights by pressure, type of a roller system in several steps before being cut in equal pieces that could go over a molding step or not. So when we talk about sprinkling in this type of lines, we can find the sprinkling station at the receiving belt, receiving the dough sheet in order to avoid stickiness onto the belt, and also potentially at the level of the calibrating rollers used to make the pressure and decrease the thickness of the dough, as you can see on the bottom of the photo. So flour sprinkling is frequently used in this type of makeup lines. So I will leave you now with my colleague, Rick van Dam, who is going to tell you about our sprinkling solution at Limagrain Ingredients. Rick?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rick van Dam, and I will tell you something about our solutions using functional flours. So, Limagrain has over 30 years of expertise in the development and production of functional flours, and we really believe that functional flours are the right solution. And this shows in the acquisition of Unicorn Grain Specialties in 2018, where we have different possibilities in producing functional flour, but we also invested in a new production line in a production site in France, in the north of France, where we bring some extra capacity, and this makes us a leader in functional flour in Europe. But what is functional flour exactly? So functional flour is a combination between a cereal and a specific process. So on one hand, we have the cereal, which could be different types of grains. It could even be pulses, but also different cereal varieties as well. And on the other side, we have a specific process. So this could be one of our patented processes, but also other processes in which we can give different heat treatments to the flour. So if you combine these two, you would end up with a very specific functional flour with a controlled particle size and very constant characteristics. And as this is still being declared as a wheat flour, for instance, it's a clean label product as well. So Pauline explained something about worker safety, And if we look at our flowers, we normally consider particles lower than 50 micron as dust. So if we look at the graphic on the left, we can see that around 25% of the native wheat flour is considered dust particles. If we look at the two other Westhoff references, you can see that these amounts of dust are much lower. And if we go to the TM range, which is our granulated flour range, we can see that there's little to no dust at all. If we look to the pictures on the right, you can see the native flour on top, a bit lumpy, and there's some dust. And the other flowers, the TM80 or Bitex and the TM40 are much more coarse particles with less dust. And because there's low dust, we can ensure better employee safety as well. So how do we measure these dust and control these particle sizes, and what does it bring us? So we can measure the dust using a dust meter. So in this dust meter, we have a rotating steel drum with some blades in it, and these blades simulate the handling and conveying process of the flour. And controlled airflow is going through the particles, and we they blow the dust into a special container, and then we can weigh the amount of dust coming out of the rotating drum. So this gives us a very precise idea of the amounts of dust in our product, and also makes us able to control these levels of dust. So another very important part is the morphology, the particle morphology, or the shape and size of the kernel. So we can really create very regular and round shapes with a smooth surface, and this also leads to very little attrition and breakage during the process, which also prevents dust from forming. Another very important thing about these shapes of the particles is that you have a very low cohesion index, which means you have a better flowability. So if you look at the image, you can see that native wheat flour has a quite high cohesion index, which means it's a bit lumpy, and it might tend to stick together, which makes it more difficult to work with. And if you look at the Westhoff references, it's already much better because the cohesion index is lower. And if you look at the granulated TM40 in this case, it's even better, and again much more free flowing. And this is thanks to the less small particles, less dust, very nice and round shape, but also the lower moisture level contributes to this free flowing properties. And because it's better free flowing, we could reduce the amount of flour used on the line with 30%. So a regular flow of the dust also means that we have less jam in the line. Also, a benefit of using functional flours and the heat treatment is that we have a very low microbial plague count. So this also, if you compare it to native flour, it is much better in hygiene and gives you less dust, or a better hygienic situation, and also less cleaning because there's less dust. So what we can offer you is a very wide range of around 20 reference and sprinkling flour. And besides these being wheat-based, we also have maize, rice, or even pulse-based products, which can also be gluten-free. We also have some organic reference as well. So depending on your recipe, the dough consistency, so the stickiness of the dough, the length of the line, so the type of process, or even the baking system, we can ensure that you get the right type of sprinkling flour for your application. And to sum up some of the the benefits is that we have a reduced microbial content, enzyme deactivation, controlled and standardized particle size, and very low dust levels, which ensures employer safety. Another advantage is that you have less dust, so you also have less problems with cleaning up, and also less mechanical trouble. Because of the flowability, you have a very nice thin layer of sprinkling flour. Because of this very fine layer of dust, you have of dusting flour, you have less dust and less breakage on the line, and also less problems with cleaning. And this also goes for the ovens as well. So I think I will give the word back to Nicola. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Rick, for your technical explanation concerning our sprinkling solution. Go ahead with the presentation. Now, what we'd like to do is to make a summary of all the benefits coming from the use of our solution for flour sprinkling. And we will try to put forward the possible savings linked to these benefits. So if we look at the first feature, which is low dust level, this will definitely improve the air quality in comparison, for instance, to the use of a native flour. This will, of course, better protect the operators on the lines. This will limit the risk of getting asthma and rhinitis. This remains a major benefits as the health of the employee has no price. Huh? On the other hand, less health problems for operators will lead also to savings for a company because the organizational problematics linked to the absence will be easier to manage. So at the end, less absence means less use of interim people and a better stability of the production teams. And this will lead to a better team performance and at the end, a better production yield. So this feature low dust level associated with the feature high microbial quality of our functional flour, as well as the control quantity of used flour during processing will give the advantage to the cleaning of the production lines and the production areas. There will be, of course, a saving due to the fact that the number of cleaning hours will be quite reduced, and there will be also less need of cleaning equipment like the vacuum cleaners, for instance. So in conclusion, our solution can be an important factor to improve the cleanness and the hygiene in the production areas. And at the end, a cleaner production environment is also the best way to prepare to customer audits, for instance. Another important point for our wheat-based products is that they are declared as a wheat flour. If our wheat-based solution is replacing, for instance, a native wheat flour, there will be no change in terms of ingredient declaration. So at the end, there will be no consequence on artwork or packaging. So as Rick already explained, our sprinkling flours, they have a very good flowability and a good drying capability of the dough surface. So better than the native flour. So this will allow a better controlled flour sprinkling that will lead to less required and consumed volume in comparison with native flour. Rick mentioned 30%. So there will be a saving, of course, due to the reduction of quantity of consumed powder, but also savings linked to the improved line performance due to a better management of those thickness during the process. So another important features of our sprinkling flower is their consent quality. That means that they will have also a constant performance on the production lines. This will reduce the number of changes of production parameters on the production equipment during production runs. So as already explained, the lowest level of our products is also beneficial for the equipment regarding their lifetime. So the reduction of the maintenance frequency will bring also savings. There will be another savings due to the reduction of purchase of spare parts. We know that it is a quite expensive cost in an industrial environment. And on the other hand, the line yield could also be improved due to the possibly fewer mechanical breakdowns. And at the end, there will be also less unpredictable line stops. So all these benefits and savings have been already observed in industrial environments. I invite you to go to the side of the HEC through the link that you can find on the bottom left of this slide. So you will be able to read in this article more details about all the benefits that have been noticed thanks to the use of a loader's flower. Of course, the first objective was the improvement of the air quality, and this has been verified. But this article notifies also the other benefits that were also noticed. So as already explained in the previous slide. So we will forward the presentation after this webinar, where you will be able to find back this article through this link. So if you are interested to better understand all these benefits, all the benefits that can be brought by the use of our sprinkling solution, so please feel free to liaise with us. You can see the commercial the details of our commercial department, or please contact your current sales manager. First of all, we will need to study your own situation in order to understand your needs and in order to be able to propose the right solution that can fit your own case. And at the end, the best is really to do an industrial trial in order to be able to see the advantages. We can, of course, support you when running this trial, and our technical experienced technician can also join these trials. I will leave you now with Pauline for the conclusion of this webinar. Pauline?
Yes, thank you, Nicolas. And thank you very much for everyone to attend this webinar. We are now to the last part with question answer. You can still ask your question on the chat on the right. We have already 2 questions. The first one is, could you do some tailor-made solution? So maybe I will let Rick answer to this one.
Yeah, so we have as I already presented, a very wide range of products. But if there's something that's not really suiting your application, we can always invest the possibilities of developing certain tailor-made products. But we have to keep in mind a certain minimum volume to do a production run.
Thank you very much. We have another question, sorry, which is what are the packagings available for these solutions? Nicolas?
Yes, Pauline. Yes, we have a broad range of packaging solutions. We can deliver in bags of 25 kilograms, but we have also the possibility to deliver in big bags. And for large quantities, we are also able to do bulk deliveries.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's time. There's a few questions more, but we will answer to you directly. So no problem. And as I said at the beginning, we will send to you all the presentation, and feel free to contact us for any information or sample, etc. So have a great day. Thank you again, and take care. Bye.